So we've discussed parallelism at the sentence level, so let's take a look at it at the level of the paper. So here's an essay I wrote that intentionally doesn't make much sense. I wrote it just so we could see the structure. So this first thing to notice is the formatting, right? So this is exactly how it should be formatted. Right, here's our title page, page break, and then we have the paper. Of course, you're not going to have any highlights. I put in the highlights to emphasize the points I'll be making. So let's take a look at the title here. We have colorful elements of the spice quag putty. And I've put quag putty, the word quag putty, in purple to show how we're always going to be coming back to it. So when I start my introduction, I say there are many colors. So colors is lining up with the word colorful in the title. Then many elements. Elements lines up with the word elements in the title. And many spices. And that lines up with the word spice in the title. So it's in the same order as the words in the title. So we have parallelism right away in the structure of the sentence where it goes, there are many colors. So the first item in the list is an adjective and a noun, many colors. Second item, adjective, noun, many elements. The third item, adjective, noun, many spices. So grammatically, we have parallelism, and we also have conceptually, the ideas are parallel with the previous sentence, which is just the title. So colorful elements of the spice quag putty, and then there are many colors, many elements, many spices. And then I make a statement here. Colors and elements combine to create spices. And you notice I cite this because I made a statement that's to be taken as fact. So I give a citation for it. The next sentence, three main colors are red, yellow, and blue. So red I put in red, which you'll see why in a minute. Yellow and yellow, blue I highlight it with blue. And then the next sentence, three main elements. So we're still staying in parallel structure with the title. Right? We started off with colors in the title. Now we're saying three main colors, red, yellow, and blue. So I'm starting to focus in a little bit more and expand on the ideas. Three main elements are earth, fire, and water. And you'll see in a moment why I've got earth and red, fire and yellow, water and blue to line up with the colors. So the next sentence, the three main colors are classically associated with the three main elements. Red is inextricably tied to earth, which is cold and dry. So all of that I've defined in red. Red is red, earth, cold, dry. All belongs to red. Next, yellow to fire, which is hot and dry. And then next, blue to water, which is cold and wet. So I have these three categorizations. And now what I've put in green here is my thesis statement. The authentic form of the unique spice quag putty can be created only by combining all three colors with all three elements in equal measure. So keep in mind this is very important. Everything after the introduction just explains what you brought up in your introduction. So there's nothing new, right? There's no surprises. No one should see any surprises after the introduction. So we start with red in the intro. So now our first paragraph is a discussion of everything to do with red. Red gives quag putty its distinctively dry texture, which immediately reduces salivary flow while providing a sudden rush of coolness to the roof of the mouth. And then a discussion of everything to do with red. And you notice the purple, quag putty, I always come back to quag putty since that's what this is centered around. Now, what's important? We keep this in parallel structure and we have transition sentences. So for the second paragraph, we move to the second item that was discussed in the introduction, yellow, fire, yellow to fire, which is hot and dry. We have to first acknowledge what we discussed, which is red. So although red is essential to quag putty, now I'm moving into the thesis. The culinary alchemist must add an equal amount of yellow to produce the spicy heat, the fire, which combines with red's coolness in menthol-like fashion, and then a discussion of yellow. So I've nicely transitioned into yellow. Yellow, fire, hot, dry, and quag putty. Now, in the introduction, the next color and element was blue, and the temperature was cold. So we move on to a discussion of blue, but we have to transition from yellow to blue. I briefly mention what has been discussed previously. So red then moves to yellow. I bring up quag putty again, and I add something to continue the discussion of the thesis, which is in green. So the red and yellow that permeate quag putty's rich character must occur ensconced in the cool blue water that provides a quick flushing of all previous sensation and cleans the palate for the next bite. And then we're into a discussion of blue. Then finally, so we've now discussed red, yellow, and blue and everything associated with those. And now it's just a discussion of how we put those together. And then finally, we have our final sentence, which is just a quick recap of what was in the intro, nothing new. And again, we go in the same order. So it's quag putty, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, and we finish off, right? So of the many spices in the world, quag putty is perhaps the most strange. We've already said that in other words up in the intro when we said the authentic form of the unique spice. So we called it unique. Here I'm calling it strange. In the conclusion, we just wrap everything up. We don't state anything new. We restate what we said in the introduction, and we give a nice concluding remark. So of the many spices in the world, quag putty is perhaps the most strange. The culinary specialist must carefully combine red, yellow, and blue in equal amounts with earth, fire, and water to produce the wonderful sensation on the palate that quag putty provides. So this is how you want to structure your entire essay. You keep parallelism at the top of mind all the time, grammatically, at the sentence level, at the paragraph level, and at the level of the entire essay, and conceptually as well as grammatically. And in your introduction, you give a roadmap, and nothing new is brought up after your introduction. It's just a discussion, right? You can see it with the colors. So I'll upload a PDF of this. And again, email me if you have any questions. And I'd be happy to discuss this in even more detail with anyone who would like. Take care.